In the next module, we'll talk about some different takes workflows that we can use. We'll talk about locking overrides and unlocking those using override groups, setting up render takes, and saving with variable path and file names, and then finally annotating and rendering multiple takes. So let's go ahead and get started in this lesson by talking about locking overrides. So you can sort of think about locking overrides. If we go into the takes manager here, and we can come up in here and you can see there's a little icon here called lock overrides, which is turned on. You can also see it right here. And if we were to go in on, let's say, let's create a new take here. And I'm just going to call this test. So we create a new take, and then we go in and we select different objects. You can see that those are blocked out. So we would need to go in and add an override to those, right? So there may be cases where, for instance, you want to come in and change something overall, but you don't necessarily want to associate it with a take. So if I were to come in here on this test take, go into this wall art material, and add an override to the color. So choose color, and then let's choose to override the color. We can change it to green. But if we go back to any of these other takes, the image is blue still. So there may be times where we're like, we want to create a take that we're changing something in, and we want to change a value, but we don't want to necessarily associate it with the take that we're currently in. In that case, you can turn off this lock overrides, or you can turn off an individual element of that. So if you turn off materials, and let me just turn off the whole thing so you can see it. So let me open up the material. Okay, let me actually create a new take here. So here's our new take. You can see everything's grayed out. If I turn off lock overrides, it's going to make those attributes available. So I can go in and change the color. Okay, so now I've changed the color of that picture on this new take. I can turn that back on. Now let's see what happens when we go back to our other takes. You can see that that green is persistent. And so what I've done is I've gone in and actually really quickly just changed something overall. So you may be going into a scene and you're changing, you know, XYZ. We're changing the towels, we're changing the counter. We're doing all those things in takes because we don't really know exactly what combination we want to use, but we know that we want to change the color of this overall within the whole scene. Well, we can really quickly just unlock the overrides, change that, and it'll change it throughout the scene in the main take, and it'll kind of populate through all of our other takes. So if you're going through and you're creating your takes, and you want to change some value, in this case we just changed the color, but it could be any of the values you can change with takes. You want to change it on a global scale as far as the scene is concerned. You want to go ahead and make that change. You can just quickly unlock that, or you can choose to unlock a particular channel here, and materials or tags, a particular type of attribute is what I'm trying to say. And you can do the same thing down here, and that will allow you in those instances to change those attributes overall, and then you can turn that back on if you want to. So that is locking and unlocking overrides. In the next lesson, let's take a look at using override groups. There may be cases where we have multiple objects that we want to change very quickly within our different takes. So we'll take a look at using override groups to do that.